In a closed-door meeting held at HYB's headquarters, CEO Si Hyuk personally conveyed serious information to two BTS members, Jungkook and Kim Taehyung, regarding Park Jimin's current condition during his military service. This information was delivered not as a routine update, but in response to growing concerns from within the company and several reports received from supervisory personnel within the military environment. Si Hyuk's statement, known as a central figure in BTS management, became a major focus because, for the first time, he openly acknowledged indications of significant emotional pressure being experienced by Jimin. "He cried after reading that letter," said Bang with a restrained voice, referring to the correspondence sent by Jungkook and Taehyung some time earlier. This condition had not been widely discussed previously. Until now, both HYB and Jimin himself have maintained the image that the military service is being carried out with full responsibility and enthusiasm. However, through internal observations and informal testimonies from peers in the training camp, it began to appear that Jimin was showing behavioral changes indicating psychological burden. According to internal sources, Jimin continues to carry out his military duties well and without complaint. However, subtle changes in his interactions have begun to show. He has become quieter, often isolates himself, and appears to have lost the enthusiasm that typically characterizes him. The monitoring team stated that he never asked for help or expressed discomfort directly, but his demeanor reflects ongoing internal pressure. The meeting between Si Hyuk and the two BTS members took place in a serious atmosphere. Jungkook and Taehyung appeared surprised and deeply concerned. They had previously sent letters to Jimin through official military correspondence channels, a step they rarely took, but this time it was deemed necessary to provide direct moral support. "He received your letters, and he cried when he read them," Si Hyuk repeated in the meeting. That sentence had a strong emotional impact on the two BTS members, considering their close personal relationship with Jimin. Since their debut, the three have shown high solidarity as groupmates and as friends. Questions began to arise among insiders and fans. Why is Jimin, known as a strong and encouraging person among BTS members, now in a declining psychological state? The most logical answer stems from the fact that military service, although a national duty, is also a heavy transition for an artist who has been accustomed to stage life and intense interaction with groupmates for more than a decade. Jimin enlisted later than several other members, including Jungkook and Taehyung. This made him the only member undergoing the initial training period without any fellow BTS members around. The loneliness and disconnection from the routine that had been part of his life are believed to be one of the main factors behind the emotional burden he is now feeling. Si Hyuk emphasized that the agency is not standing idle. He has instructed the internal unit to regularly monitor Jimin's condition and coordinate with the military to ensure the mental health of all BTS members currently serving is under proper supervision. In response to this information, Jungkook and Taehyung took concrete steps. Both wrote letters again, each with a strong personal message. In his letter, Jungkook wrote briefly but meaningfully, "Hyung, you don't have to pretend to be strong. If you feel tired, let us know. We are here." Meanwhile, Taehyung emphasized the importance of solidarity, writing, "We've been through everything together. Don't think you're alone now. We're still here, even if only through words." The letters were sent again through official channels, with the hope that the moral and emotional messages within would reach Jimin and provide genuine support. Weeks after the dispatch, HYB received indirect information from an individual in Jimin's training environment. The message was short but impactful. "He received the letter, and he cried." Jimin's emotional reaction to the letter indicated that he felt the moral support he may have doubted the presence of. For Jungkook and Taehyung, the news brought relief, along with a deep sense of guilt for not being directly by Jimin's side during the toughest early days. The response from the BTS fan community, ARMY, was swift and emotional. Many expressed their sadness upon learning about the psychological burden Jimin was experiencing, while also offering support through various online campaigns using the hashtags #WeLoveYouJimin and #YouAreNotAloneJimin. These hashtags briefly trended on multiple social media platforms, showing the global scale of concern over BTS members' conditions. In its official statement, HYB did not provide specific details regarding Jimin's psychological condition, but confirmed that all BTS members currently undergoing military service are under regular monitoring by the company's internal team. Bang Si Hyuk also affirmed that the company's priority is to safeguard the physical and mental well-being of its artists, especially during transitional periods like this. The conclusion from this incident highlights the importance of communication and emotional support, even among individuals who appear strong on the outside. Jimin, who has long been a source of encouragement for millions, is now facing one of the toughest phases in his life. However, thanks to support from his bandmates and the love of fans, he is reminded that he is never truly alone. HYB and the rest of the BTS members are certain to ensure that Jimin receives all the support he needs until he returns from military service. Following Bang Si Hyuk's emotional statement regarding Jimin's condition, which was claimed to show psychological pressure during military service, public discourse began to heat up. The public, especially the army community, faced a complex emotional dilemma. On one hand, they felt touched and concerned about Jimin's mental state. On the other, an equally important question emerged: is all of this really happening as reported? In today's era of rapid and open information, it's very easy for anyone to be influenced by narratives wrapped in drama. Short videos on TikTok, moment compilations on YouTube, and emotional speculation on Twitter can all shape public opinion within minutes. But the question remains, have these narratives undergone proper verification before being accepted as truth? It must be underlined that most information related to Jimin's condition currently circulating on social media has not received official confirmation from the South Korean military or any personal statement from Jimin himself. So, is it reasonable for the public to immediately believe that Jimin truly cried because of the letters sent by Jungkook and Taehyung? Are these described stories based on verifiable factual data or merely sentimental narratives built to evoke public sympathy? In the context of journalism, verification is a core principle that cannot be compromised. When an event is reported without a clear official source, or only based on indirect quotes from insiders, its validity becomes questionable. Therefore, the public needs to ask, who is actually the source of this story? Why would Bang Si Hyuk, a figure usually very private about his artists' personal matters, suddenly give such an emotional confession publicly? Is it possible this is part of a media strategy to maintain BTS's presence during their military hiatus? Could the story of Jimin's loneliness be a form of narrative management to keep emotional engagement among fans during the group's public inactivity? More than just questioning, the public is also invited to reflect. Why are we so easily swayed by emotional narratives that may not be factual? Where is the line between sympathy and emotional manipulation through digital content? If we can't distinguish between database narratives and emotionally spiced fiction, we risk becoming victims of unhealthy information consumption. The fact that most of this information originates from platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter further highlights the urgency of skepticism. Such content, while perhaps well-intentioned, often lacks complete context or concrete evidence. In many cases, selectively edited clips can shape an entirely inaccurate perception. Therefore, we invite all readers to question some fundamental things. Are we consuming information or being conditioned by a narrative? Does this information reflect reality or merely an emotional representation crafted masterfully? What's the motivation behind spreading this narrative? Is it purely to defend Jimin or to maintain emotional engagement from fans during the group's hiatus? Why is there no direct statement from Jimin, the military, or the agency in the form of a verifiable press conference? These questions are not meant to doubt someone's emotional suffering, but to balance empathy with rationality. We must distinguish between emotional support and the spread of unverified information. Are our sympathies directed toward facts or to a collective imagination built by the content industry? While we wait for official confirmation from HYB or South Korean military authorities, it must be stressed that not everything that seems touching is true. In the entertainment world, emotional fan engagement is a primary asset. It's not impossible that stories like this, no matter how moving, could be part of a communication strategy aimed at preserving the emotional bond between artist and fanbase. Let this discussion serve as a reminder that concern doesn't need to be blind, and empathy doesn't have to abandon logic. In this information-flooded era, being critical is the purest form of love for the truth. Thank you.